Hey YouTube, Rudy El Segundo. This is going to be a closer look at the SG Works SKS Bullpup Rifle stock kit. I'm going to show you guys a field strip. It's very simple. There's several other bullpup rifle kits out there for the SKS, and this is probably one of the simpler rifles to field strip and give you access to your works. For instance, if you go shooting, you want to clean up the works, you're going to want a quick disassembly of the kit. You don't want to, and this is fairly quick. I mean, there are some screws that you do have to remove to get to your piston, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. All right. First is this little retention pin. That pin retains another pin, this rear pin back here, and it just inserts inside of the hole here. You push that pin out and go ahead and remove it. That holds your cheek rest into place, your cheek guard. That's this part here. What I like to do, I like to have the bolt open when I remove this, the cheek guard, this cheek guard, excuse me. So you can do that by either inserting a magazine, an empty magazine, or you can lock it open just by pressing up on the lever. And I'm referring to this lever down here. So you're going to rack your bolt back, and this pin right down here from underneath, you're going to push that pin up and lock it in the open position. And as you can see, this is the original SKS. This is a rifle here. So you do the field strip the same way. Go ahead and close the bolt. Remove that pin. Go ahead and remove the cover. And then start disassembling your SKS. But this is a complete field strip of the bolt assembly. Another quick thing that I did, I want to show you guys. The bolt, I modified it a little bit. I took a Dremel to it, and if you look at the underneath, if you look at it from underneath, let me focus in on it. I wore away both sides of under the bolt. That's the front. That's a firing pin. So I wore away at it, and the reason I did that is so that I could, it's a modification, it's a bolt modification, so that you're able to feed your magazine when that bolt is closed. SKS rifles are known to only load, you're only able to load the magazine with the bolt open, and this bypasses that problem. So what you do, you just wear away a little of the metal. You can take a Dremel. I wouldn't recommend doing a grinder. You want to take a Dremel. It wears away very little. Just some sandpaper, and like I said, that's the reason for that modification. One other part that I modified was this pin, this rear pin, and I'll go into detail about it in a little bit. But I want to show you what exactly I wore away. These two pieces, this flap that flaps over, was actually flush with this other piece. So I wore away just a little. I nicked away just a little bit. Same thing with a Dremel, and I'll show you the importance of that in, like I said, in a little bit. All right. If you want access to your trigger, the original trigger assembly, what you want to do, go ahead and pull on the trigger, make sure the safety's off, pull on the trigger, suppress this small little pin right here. At the same time that you press down on that pin, you're going to pull on the trigger, and you kind of have to play with it a little bit, just like that. You press down, and now you got access to your trigger assembly, to your trigger spring. You can use some Q-tips, clean it up that way. You don't have to remove the whole lower portion of the kit. If you want to access your piston, you will have to remove this top foreguard, this guard up here, the fore-end guard, excuse me. You're going to have 8 screws. These 8 hex Allen wrench screws here, you're going to have to remove those. So it's 4 and 4 to get access to your piston. But like I said, if you want to do just a quick general clean, I mean, if you're shooting surplus ammo, if it's corrosive ammo, then you want to do that at every shoot. Every time you go shooting, every time you got to clean up your, go ahead and remove those 4 screws. And then go ahead and field strip the piston, the rod, the spring. Take it all down and clean it up if you're shooting surplus ammo. If not, I don't do it on a regular basis. I only clean that. I don't really shoot a lot of surplus, but when I do, like I said, I do a thorough cleaning, because as you know, surplus ammo is highly corrosive. All right, guys, and then now reassembly of the rifle. You're going to work in a backwards fashion. Remember, I set the trigger, so you got to set it back. You got to push back on the trigger, throw the bolt in, and then complete the bolt assembly. Next is going to be your spring, and like I said, be sure it's closed. And next is your bolt assembly cover. Okay, and then here is and then go ahead and complete the process by inserting the pin. All right, next you're going to do your cheek guard. When you reinsert your cheek guard, this pin has to be in an upward position. So again, go ahead and lock it open, pull back on the bolt, push up, right where I told you, push up on that lever, and lock that bolt in an open position. It's a lot easier to feed the cheek rest, the cheek rest cover. See that? And then go ahead and insert it. There's going to be a lip right here. Fit that inside of the groove, and then go ahead and close down on it. And this is where that modification comes in handy. This modification, when I whir away at it, this is going to lock down, and it's going to catch. It's going to, if you notice, it's going to catch inside of that polymer cheek rest, and it's going to fall into the groove. The 7.62 by 39 round is very effective. There's a lot of recoil. So with all that gyration, it's going to pop. It's going to want to pop that pin up, and this prevents that from happening. That little modification, just like I said, wearing away a little bit at this part here, you're able to lock it into place, and that's not moving. That's not going anywhere. I'm struggling to push that pin up, and that's actually it's what you want. All right, next you come around from the other side and you reinsert your pin. It's fairly new, so it's going to take some elbow grease. All right, and then next is going to be your pin retention clip, and then just put it over, lock it into place, and that's it, guys. That's a complete, well, a semi-complete, I would say. It's how to remove the cheek rest and the fore end. You don't need to remove that lower or the complete stock to clean up your SKS after every shoot. If you remember in my other video, I did modify this part a little bit. In my original video, I had a real big gap right here, meeting the two pieces. And the way I corrected that was to Dremel away at the pivot point. The two places I told you, it's two metal pivot points where the barrel of the SKS meet the polymer stock. It's two rounded metal washer pieces, if you will, and you just wear away at it. Don't hack away at it, guys. Take your time with it. Do a trial and error. That way it can fit. I mean, I could probably fit it a little bit tighter. I don't want to go any further down. This seems to fit fairly well. So It did fit fairly well, and I didn't have any problems with it. The next, I did take it to the range. I put about 100 rounds through it, and it shoots awesome, guys. I highly recommend it. I'm still waiting on a few parts. They're trickling in. I got that handguard. That's what but I'm still missing that tri-rail. The tri-rail is on back order. I'm waiting for it, and I ordered this adjustable handguard. You can adjust it in several different positions. Straight back, a 45-degree angle, or forward. And then you could also put it on that angle there. Just like that. And that's what I go with. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm also waiting on that, like I said, the sights. I got iron sights coming, and then a magnified red dot. The tri-rail, and then it should be ready. It should be ready to rock. One other complication I had was with these 30 rounders. I did Dremel away a little bit at the. I told you in my other video I didn't want to jeopardize the integrity of that hand guard. Excuse me, of the trigger guard. But I did wear away at it. I was able to modify it a little bit, and it didn't really. I didn't take off too much. I was able to fit it, but I'll tell you what, these 20 round Tapco magazines a lot more reliable than the 30 rounders. This I don't know if it's a tension on the spring or what, but these are a lot more reliable. I had no issues whatsoever with this one. This here, I had issues feeding. So my suggestion to you guys, invest in the Tapco 20 rounders. I mean, I got several of these, and no problems whatsoever. They're a lot more, like I said, a lot more reliable. You're able to feed stripper clips through it, no problem. It'll take obviously two stripper clips because it's a 20 rounder, and the stripper clips come in 10 round capacities. But that's pretty much it, guys. I will be taking it to the range in a few. June 2nd, I'm going to the outdoor range. We're setting it up already. So you're going to see this in action coming up. So stay tuned. And that's it for me. I'm Rudy El Segundo. Questions, comments, post them. I'm out.